Good afternoon, people. I'm joined today with October Red Media. Just to let you know, just a little disclaimer. Also, peanuts.
Yeah, it's a relaxed atmosphere in here.
Sultana and cherry.
Roseanna's had to cover up her feet because she's got corns. So Roseanna had to cover up her feet because she's covering up the corns.
What I was going to say is, if you even think about mentioning anything naughty on camera, I will walk off. So if the interview doesn't get finished,
I can't guarantee.
You fucking know why.
I can't guarantee that.
Really shaking.
Yeah, because you've been doing pads for like 700 hours. The only thing I will ask is that you move your mic closer to your mouth. Okay. It starts already, but this is for recording purposes.
Are we started?
Yeah, I don't really do any editing out. We've got like 25 minutes before it will possibly shut off because,
Do you think if I hold the camera down, you'll be able to hear me eating peanuts?
It depends how loud you are with the crunching. But anyway, October Red. We're in Birmingham. We're in Acox Green. Roseanna came up to our sunny city.
It is really cold up here compared to London. I don't think it would make much of a difference, but it does. It does.
It's not as cold as Manchester, though.
Yeah, true.
And I'm joined by the lovely rank number 1. You talked to us about that Roseanna Cox. She's ranked number 1. And somebody did say to me, but, there's not many people in her division. I said, there's not many people in the female division. You know, when somebody just has to say something.
Yeah. Everyone always has to say something. Do you know what? I'm taking it. But I'm not ranked by the belts, which somebody kindly corrected me on Instagram the other day. You're not ranked. You don't know what you're talking about. Boxers don't even know what they're talking about. I'm rated by BoxRec as number 1, but I'm not yet ranked by the
governing bodies, WBC, IBF, WBA, WBO, etc.
I feel like you started this prematurely.
No, not really.
My peanuts.
You can eat your peanuts. Because it's okay to eat, and you might get thirsty because Roseanna's been putting some serious work in here, like beating the pads to pieces. One of the things that I do like about Roseanna, we'll do an introduction, is you've got heart and you're prepared to make sacrifices, because those that you don't know, Roseanna's originally, I don't know if you can tell from her lovely accent, she's Australian. She's not even from the UK.
And she taking the piss?
No. And she made a sacrifice to come over here. Why? That's a compliment. It's saying that you're prepared to follow your dreams to come to
New Zealand.
I didn't do well in geography at school. Is J.R. Pattaya from New Zealand? Or is that Joel Joyce? Joel Parker?
Joseph Parker's from New Zealand. I think Jay's from Australia.
Is he?
I don't know. Joseph Parker's from New Zealand, yeah, 100%.
So let us know a little bit about your family background then. We can start there because I'm going to state the obvious, you're mixed race, Caribbean, English, but you're from New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's a new mix for me. Call me ignorant, say what you like, but...
I'm probably one of, like, I think my dad was one of, like, maybe 5 people, Jamaicans, in New Zealand. He went there. My dad was a musician. And he went there on tour and, settled there, and then met my mum, who's from England. Just randomly, they were both there. But, yeah.
Wow.
And then I obviously I was born there, raised there. I came here for the summer when I was 18 and then moved here when I was 23 for boxing.
How did that come about? I mean, we talk about... You know what? Yeah, but... Your life in New Zealand then as a mixed race person.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because I'm not being funny, but I don't look at New Zealand and presume that there's going to be like lots of like mixed, as in Caribbean, white.
Yeah, all I remember growing up is like, 1, old ladies coming up to me and like touching my hair. Oh my God, she's so cute. Oh, da-da-da-da. 2, people always asking, is she your granddaughter? Is she adopted? Like, I feel like it's like stories that you hear from England maybe like 50 years prior. Literally, like people just shocked. People used to ask me at school, why is your dad black and your mum's white? Like all of that. Like I literally grew up just... Because there's obviously the Maori people and Pacific Islanders who are like more native to that side of the world. Maori people are native to New Zealand, but they have straight hair. So it's like it was very different, and there was no one like me. There was no one mixed. It was in high school. There was one girl. She was English, mixed race, like Jamaican, British. That was my first time meeting somebody, I think. Yeah. So.
How did you find that? I mean, fair enough, you don't know any better because you're not used to anything else.
No,
but how
all
did
the
you?
kids made me very aware of it. It was very racist, definitely. Yeah. Your skin's the colour of poo. Yeah, I grew up with all of that, proper racist. So I think, like, also I rode horses, so it was all, like, posh white girls. And I feel like I really wish that I was white, like, most of my like childhood. And I think you don't really realise when you're super young, but always thinking, like, yeah, wishing that I could look like my parents. And then going to school and then them drawing attention to the fact that I looked different. Yeah, 100%. So I think there was always like a confusion growing up, and probably why. Yeah.
People often say, you know, like when you're mixed race, I've got a different experience because I'm born over. It's multicultural, definitely more multicultural than New Zealand, as in Caribbean, white. But there's always this thing with like some mixed race people, and they grow up and they say, I wish I was white. And it's not because they want to be white, but it's because it would just be easier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get like targeted, like you said, made to feel really uncomfortable.
Do you feel like people over here feel that?
So I'd say, yeah, because remember, I'm a little bit older than you. So I grew up, there was mixed race people about, but more of them would probably, depending on because being mixed race is tricky.
Yeah.
And when I say it's tricky, my mum's black, my dad's white. They say that's rare.
Yeah.
So my dad wasn't around. He was the one that left. Okay. I was brought up with my mum and all my brothers and sisters. All of them are black. So I was more or less, I'm black.
Yeah.
But then when I went to school, it was like, you're not black. Okay. You're this. So then I would experience it maybe from the opposite way. Or some of the mixed race girls that I knew, their mums were like white, and they would more identify, some of them, not all of them.
It's almost like a different race. Like being mixed race with a black mum is very different to being mixed race with a white mum.
I agree. Yeah. But why do you think it is?
I just think like that. I feel like you more inherit the mother's culture.
Yeah.
Whether the dad's in the picture or not, and the type of black man that goes for a white woman compared to the type of white man that goes for a black woman, it's a very different dynamic. And it's interesting. It's
a whole topic by itself. But listening to your stories, because we spoke off camera, and to hear like the racism that you went through, that couldn't have been nice. So I get it when you come over here. What was that difference? Yeah.
Yeah, I always say that if I grew up in England and was born in England, I wouldn't have been a boxer. But I think that, honestly, I think boxing attracts a certain type of person that's been through a certain type of like, pain or trauma or something. I think I've spoke to you about that before. So I think if I would have, I went to university. I was actually very intelligent in school. It was more like I feel like I got labelled as like maybe not. Do you know what I mean? Like just that stereotype. But when I think back of having like no help, or I never got help at home with do you know what's interesting? Like it wasn't until I was a nanny. I was a nanny when I first moved here for 2 years, and like the attention and time that their parents put into the girls' homework and checking everything and making sure I checked everything, I realised like, wow, growing up no one like really gave a shit about my like school and education and stuff. But I still like finished school, went to university. I was like smashing like finance and accounting at uni. I wanted to be an accountant, and I think it was then that I realised like this world is not for me. Like that whole corporate world. I think me going into a corporate world in New Zealand, I don't know what it's like now, but back then I was just like, I have to find something different to do. I think that's why when I started boxing, I was like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. It's like, but I think if I grew up here, like I was quite academic, I probably would have pursued a completely different. So it's mad how things turn out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is now that you put it like that.
Yeah.
Like your surroundings, they do say, is it nature that makes you, or is it nurture?
Yeah.
What is it that makes you the person that you are?
Yeah.
But it's good that you can actually sit there and look at two possibilities.
Yeah.
Because there's two sides to Roseanna. There's this way
Yeah.
and there's that way. You were educated.
Yeah.
You could have had like a, you know, a 9 to 5, be that businesswoman.
Yeah.
And in a sense, boxing, you have to be a businesswoman anyway because
Yeah,
you're
100%.
self-employed. So you've still got that kind of like academia that's used in this.
Yeah.
But that fighter, you said something there, and it's about what makes a boxer. They have to be different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a normal person that wants to get punched in the head for a job and continue going back, and like it's not a very rewarding, you know, like if you like, I don't know, you do different sports and it's like, what's the word, like you can quantify your progress, whereas boxing it's just like, did you get punched up today or did you not get punched up today? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I love that aspect of it, like it's just you against someone else, raw, like it's the realest sport in the world because you can't escape or fake it or
Boxing in Australia then, because that's obviously where it started. What was it that, you know, you had
Australia.
that New Zealand?
Which,
I need to we'll sort out
do you know
geography
what?
classes afterwards.
I'm like making it out like people always say, oh, sorry, but actually it's not offensive, by the way, when people say like, oh, they get New Zealand and Australia.
But the thing is, they're
up.
both massive countries that are they're not even in that much close proximity to each other. So it's like, there's a massive difference. Boxing, New Zealand, what was it that, you know, you said, all right, I'm going to give this a try?
So I was in uni and I was training with like the people that did track at the university gym. And then I trained for ages doing all like the sort of I don't know if they have seasons and track. No, maybe not. But like pre-season, you know, like the weights and the explosive training and stuff. And I was really fast at school, and I always used to like win the races with no shoes on, and like, you know what I mean? They
Zola
would
Bud.
spikes, and they do their like blocks, and I had no clue, and I would literally just start like this and like beat all of them. So I was excited to do it properly, and then I don't know, within like a few tries on, I think they got excited that I was so fast, and they just like go, and then I got stress fractures in my shins. So it was like, it was really bad, and I wanted to keep training and use that what I'd built. So I went to just a boxing fitness class to kind of keep me ticking over until my shin splints or what is stress fractures like healed. And I literally hit the bag one time, and it was like, oh my god.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just went to the it was meant to be a fitness class, and then someone that I knew was like had like a 1-to-1 session, so I think I went and joined in that, and he was like, oh, you'd suit the peekaboo style like Mike Tyson, like literally just I've walked in there and he's looked at my physique.
Okay.
And so he started teaching me like Mike Tyson moves, so like obviously I loved it, like punching something, and then I'd gone home that night and watched Mike Tyson, and I was just like, oh my god, like. Because I remember my dad watching boxing, and I remember like Mike Tyson fights being on, but I was never interested. I hated violence. Like I just hated being around any sort of like.
Did you fight at school? Did you have to fight at school? Even though like you had all the comments and.
I was a pussy, like proper. Like when I think back, like people even used to try and like set up fights because they'd like look at me and be like, yeah, Roseanna will smash you. Like they'd try and like start fights, and I'd be like, oh no, like sorry about her. Like I'm very like, yeah, I was very like, what's the word? I was just a pussy. Like I just didn't want confrontation, didn't want conflict. Just like wanted to like lie low and like all that.
But you say that, could it have been the fact that like you know that you were outnumbered anyway? If you look at it like that,
No,
because
I just didn't want to be involved in any sort of
confrontation.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, just didn't want anything to do with it. I think. Do you know what? As well? Like I feel that it was like another stereotype for black, like don't be an aggressive black woman type thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I feel like I just wanted to do anything possible. Do you know? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but it's so irritating, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's so irritating that these stereotypes just seem to follow you wherever you go.
Yeah.
Like, say for example, I'm quite animated with my hands.
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Oh, look at her, she's doing gun signals in her videos." No, I'm not. I just speak with my hands, and it's like, oh, I can't do this because such and such is going to think that, and then you just suppress,
Literally.
and you just can't be yourself.
Yeah. I've literally spoken, been frustrated and spoke passionately before. I don't like. I feel like I'm quite in control of my anger because of the boxing. Like, you have to be. You can't get angry. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
lose it.
disciplined.
Yeah, and I've been like, no, actually, what happened? Did it? And then it was like, oh, you're scaring me. So it's like always just like, get in your box, get in your box, get in your box. And I just wanted so much to be just seen. I just always wanted to show people, no, 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 I'm not aggressive. No, I'm not this. No, I am intelligent. No, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I never thought I was never, yeah. I used to smash up my room sometimes in private, but I'd never like outwardly show my. So that's why I think I love the boxing. I feel I speak a lot about, like, the shadow self, and like that psychological aspect of like hiding aspects of yourself that you feel are not appropriate or acceptable in society. And I feel like my passion and aggression and anything like that was not accepted. So I think when I got in the boxing gym and I was able to express myself in that way, it was such a release, and it was such a, like, it was so needed for me, and on so many different levels. So yeah, I just couldn't get enough of it. And then watching Mike Tyson and reading about him and the personality that he had and the life that he'd been through, like, I just related to him so much. Like, even when you watch him, like, he's a very soft-hearted man. And people see him as like this, he's ferocious. He's a very soft-hearted man. Look, at anytime he speaks about his coach, he cries. Even now, And I just related to him so much, and I just wanted to embody like, he's like, I feel like it's like my alter ego. I love him.
Mike Tyson is one of my favourite fighters. He was one of my mum's favourite fighters, along with Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, whichever name you want to use. My mum always used to call him Cassius. So I grew up as a big, massive Mike Tyson fan. And his relationship that he had with his coach, like you said, his coach was more than a coach.
Yeah.
And you saw not really his decline, but you saw the change in him after Cos passed away.
100%.
And this is why I'm one of these that's quite passionate about a fighter when they keep switching coaches, when they keep changing, because it's like, are you searching for that Cos? Are you searching for that person? Or did you have him, but you're taking him for granted?
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to you, New Zealand, you got that frustration out. Athletic sports person, it was for you.
Yeah. So I did that one, and then I was like watching Mike Tyson all the time, and I thought, let me just try sparring. Let me just see what it feels like to get hit in the head. Because I hadn't decided that I wanted to fight. I just knew I loved this thing that I'd found, And I was before that I was riding horses competitively for like 10 years, and then I was kind of phasing out of that. Obviously, it's quite expensive, and I was in uni just like looking. I'd always, I'd spend hours and hours with my horses and practicing and lessons and competitions, and I was very, very, I feel like my determination and focus and all of that, like, it was very strong from a young age toward the horses. So I was kind of looking for that next thing to focus on the side of I'm getting really bad pins and needles on my toes.
It's the corns. Just saying.
Shut the fuck.
Yeah, sorry. No.
On the side of my like academic world. So yeah. What were we talking about? All I can think about is feet now.
No, because you were saying obviously going into boxing, you was competitively riding horses. That was expensive. You was balancing that up with university.
Yeah, so I thought, let me just try a sparring session. And they put me in with a girl. Do you remember Daniela Smith? I said she was Commonwealth champion, but I think she was actually a world champion from New Zealand. She was sick. She was actually sick. She was like one of them women that really paved the way. Like, I can't even think how long ago it was. And
I'll have to have a look.
It was her daughter. And she was a coach in the gym that I was training at. She wasn't coaching me, but she was a coach there. And yeah, her daughter was doing like white collar boxing. So I jumped in with her, and she fucking smoked me. Oh my God. And my nose was bleeding, and I was like, she probably beat me up. Like,
And you say that with a smile on your face.
yeah, I got out with a smile on my face. And the coach that put me in was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't, like, she wasn't malicious, don't get me wrong. Like,
She did her job.
She was just like, I think I just walked onto a few shots. Like, I was like, I just watched so much Mike Tyson. I was like, I'm coming forward no matter what. No defense. Just like getting my head pinged back. And like, I think just walked onto a couple shots. And they were like, oh, sorry. And she was like, are you okay? I was like, oh my God, I loved it. Just that, I don't know, I think you either do it and you love getting hit in the head, or you don't love getting hit in the head and you never do it again. But I loved it. And I literally, then and there, was like, I'm going to be a boxer. And I remember, like, I had this diary, like this, like, you know, with like no lines on it. It was like a, because it was around that time when I'd found out about The Secret. It was like The Secret then.
Law of Attraction,
all
God,
of that.
yeah. The fashion.
But I'd found out like about that, and I was visualizing and manifesting, and I got this book, and I'd printed off all of these pictures of like gloves and robes, and like it's mad because I just envisioned walking out to this big crowd, and I'm wearing this black robe, which I realized after my debut was that robe. Like I'd visualize it. This is 2013. I'd been visualizing it from then, like walking out being a professional boxer, and like, yeah, the whole thing was mad. Like, but yeah, I'd had this book, and I put it all in this book, and there was no women boxing on TV. Like there was.
Yeah, you're right.
2013.
You're right.
Only 1 year before the 2012 Olympics was the
Katie
first
Taylor.
time women boxed at the Olympics. And I wasn't a boxing fan, but I just decided that I was going to be like this female boxer. That was going to be my job, not a hobby, like a job. And then I was like, yeah, I need to box for New Zealand first. You know, I need to box my country first, and then I'm going to be a professional, and I'm going to chase it.